Hi, folks. I have the great honor and privilege to have Nancy Reeves from Minnesota with us today to share her story from attending the first ever West Coast Biomagnetic Healing Seminar put on by Dr. Garcia a couple weeks ago during the power outages. And I want to thank you, Nancy, for being here and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
So I want to ask you first of all, what possessed you to come out all the way out from Minnesota? What inspired you to take the biomagnetic seminar?
Okay, well, I had actively been searching for something to get into after studying, researching health for probably the last 15 years. And so I was looking at acupuncture, I was looking at kinesiology, and then I stumbled across your video talking about biomagnetism, and it just resonated with everything I wanted. It was more of the empowering the individual. And as soon as I saw that, my inside leapt, and I knew I had to do it, and went from there.
So Nancy, did you attend a seminar to heal yourself or to help heal others?
Both. I started out with trying to help my boys who both had reactions to vaccines. And then it just kind of grew. I wanted to help others. I want to empower others.
Would you mind sharing with us what happened to your boys after they got vaccinated? Can you tell their story, please?
Sure. My youngest actually had a reaction to an MMR vaccine. He was at daycare one day, and our daycare provider said that while he was sitting in the middle of the floor, um, just sitting there, not touching anything, he had a massive bloody nose, just poured out onto the floor, left a puddle. And so I had him to two different specialists who basically told me that the daycare provider wasn't telling the truth. I knew there was something more, so I started researching, and then came across information that within 14 days they could have a reaction. And when I look back at my calendar, it was exactly that time frame. So I brought him to a naturopath doctor, uh, probably a couple hours away, and he was able to clean him up with some tinctures. Um, and that did help. My oldest son actually still is suffering with some fungal infection, I think, and we've never been able to get rid of it. So, um, looking forward to using the biomagnetism for that. He's already making placements nightly.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, what was your experience at the Beyond Biomagnetic seminar out here in California? And can you share with us um, what you learned from the 5 day seminar intensive and then the working with others and practicing with others?
Okay.
And what did you find was beneficial that you took away from this seminar with Dr. Garcia?
I was blown away. Um, like I said, I knew that this was what I wanted to do, totally clueless as to, what was going to take place. When I got there, the people were incredible. Made a new best friend. Um, Everybody that was involved with putting it on was so kind. Dr. Garcia, I thought was top notch. Um, he's done such extensive work in putting everything together, and you can see his passion. He's so caring, so humble. And I always said that if I was going to follow anybody for health information, I wanted that to see that person looking healthy, and he and his wife and everybody that was working with them, they just exuded health. You could tell just by their personalities. I mean, they're just everything all enveloped right there. So yeah, I can't say enough.
Now, the workshop is a 5 day intensive, 9 in the morning to 7 at night, and covers a lot of material. How did you feel that worked for you, or was it overwhelming, or how did you take all the information that was presented to you?
Yes, yes, very. But it just kept it just kept me totally entranced. I mean, it was great information. He laid it out well. As the day, how he had everything laid out in the day and our practice sessions and long days, but it was all set well. Just left me knowing that this is it. This is it. So very happy to have had a chance to go to that and participate.
So, give me a sense, an idea as you're going through the biomagnetic seminar with Dr. Garcia. What was the progression? Did you take hold of it right away? Did you grasp the concepts? Or, like me, I'm more of a nuts and bolts guy. It took me a while to start working with what he was presenting there and then finding out for myself that I could do this and then doing placements where others were picking up right away. It took me a while to figure it out. But what was your experience as you went through the class during the entire week of the seminar?
Yeah, it took a little while, but I guess the first thing that I noticed when we were doing practice sessions and I was laying on the table, when somebody else was working on me, I thought it was really interesting how I could feel my body shift without even trying to do it. And then hearing back from that person that, that was a yes. Did you feel that in your body? It was amazing. Your body just did it on its own.
So, what you're referring to is muscle testing, kinesiology, where you use either your thumbs, your arms, or the heels of the legs to find and scan the body for issues to determine whether or not different issues need to have treatments on them. And were you able to get results right away? It took me a while before I got results. I can get them with my thumbs, but it took me a while.
It took a couple times getting used to it and clearing my mind, doing the intent or setting the intention like we were taught. And yeah, when their arms actually lengthened or their leg actually lengthened, it really proved to me, there is something to this. So it was incredible.
And with me, I still
And
can't get the legs to work. It took Dr. Garcia, he said, over 8 months before he get the muscle testing to work for him on the legs. And I found the success of using my thumbs. I get results using my thumbs, and I rely on that almost exclusively.
okay, okay, and yeah, I have a hard time doing, finding that with my thumbs, but I really felt comfortable using the feet.
So, Nancy, how do you think
So
this
yeah,
works?
I
How
think.
does this subtle energy work through our bodies? And what did you take away from
Mhm.
learning about this body scanning to determine what issues are inside a person so you can begin to start healing them with magnets?
Um, I guess I had started learning that our body is energy. I started learning about the subconscious. Um, I guess I don't really know how to put words to that. Um, I just knew that there's a force that's out there, and through your subconscious that you can communicate with it or their subconscious.
And what about when you learn that you could remotely heal, that you could have a surrogate on a table and think of somebody not in the room or at a distance, and you could remotely treat them with magnets?
Well, at first, that really shocked me, and it took some, yeah, it took some just kind of trusting, probably at first. But then when I had my experience, the crisis healing or crisis that I had, no doubt in my mind, because Dr. Garcia actually did heal my body remotely through my friend Christine.
So I just heard about the story from Christine. When did this start with you? What day did you have your crisis happen?
Oh, I think it was the fourth day. Well, it was the same time that you had your experience.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened and what's the background for what happened to you at the seminar.
Okay, well, my history is that when I was in my mid 20s, I had an appendectomy, and then I had a C-section with my youngest son 17 years ago. And so I, about 9 years ago, had an experience where I started having horrible abdominal pain. Ended up in the emergency room, and then they admitted me and found out it was a bowel obstruction. Um, Spent 5 days that time, and then um, another couple times I was in the emergency room after that, and then just this summer, in fact, the end of June, I ended up in the hospital with another bowel obstruction. Um, Basically, you go in there and you get the equivalent of morphine just to get rid of the pain, and they observe you um, for those days that you're in there and do lots of x-rays. And if things don't start moving on their own, if the kink doesn't correct itself, which your intestines can get kinked, then they'll do surgery to, remedy the problem, which is kind of a catch-22 because a lot of this that is happening is caused by scar tissue. But if you have surgery, then you're going to have more scar tissue. So yeah, it was fresh in my mind, and so that night, same night that you were going through your ordeal, I started having pain. So I went and lay down on my bed. It didn't take long. I was doubled over in pain. It was level 8 or 9. And my roommate had come in and checked on me. And I said, I have to find an emergency room. I was scared to death. Didn't know where to go. The electricity happened to be out at that time too. So I didn't know if that was going to affect anything. So she ran back to the room where everybody was, I guess. And my understanding was that she went up to Dr. Garcia and was asking for help, trying to find an emergency room. And he just said, well, just give me a minute. So he proceeded to work remotely on me through her, found that I needed 3 different pairs placed on my body. She came back to the room, got the magnets out, placed them on my body. We both laid down, her in her bed and mine. I was in mine, and we were talking. In about 10 minutes, she asked me, okay, what's the pain level at? And it kind of shocked me. And I said, I think it's at 4. And so we talked a little bit longer, and, we were belly laughing shortly after that. She told me, okay, it's been 20 minutes, and okay. And then 25-minute mark, she asked me, and I said, the pain is completely gone. And that, to me, was a miracle because of my past experiences. The pain did not go away without, strong pain medication. And then, for 25 minutes worth, and it's all gone. Everything was corrected, compared to 3 to 5 days in a hospital. And I don't know, I was extremely happy, but grateful that happened to me there too. So then I could see for sure what this actually can do.
So you were thinking you were going to have to go to the emergency room in California because the pain was hurting so much.
It was that bad. Yes, I was scared. I knew.
Sorry to interrupt, but so Dr. Garcia was not even in the room with you. He used a muscle testing with Christine in the seminar room we're meeting at, and he instructed her
Correct.
to go to the room where you were in such pain and place the magnets around you to heal you. And within 20 minutes, you were all better and you're no longer in pain and you were ready to go to the emergency room. Is that correct?
All better. And extremely happy. Yeah, blew me away.
So Nancy, you were ready to go in the emergency and get in an ambulance in California and go to the hospital, which would have incurred thousands of dollars of cost. I mean, just placing magnets and you were all better. I mean, how much does it cost when you were treated before for this?
Well, last summer when I ended up in the hospital for 3 days, it was well over $20,000 just for that. Yeah. And the magnets, I don't know what the difference would have been in California for pricing, but when I think back about it, the magnets, there were 3 pair that I used. I'm guessing that was maybe $100 just for the magnets, but then you reuse them, over and over. So it was an huge savings, to say the least.
So you've been dealing with these issues for a long time, and besides the financial cost, there's time and energy cost involved, and work and being away from your loved ones and the rest of that too, right?
Yep, that's right. Lost work time, just a all sorts of things that come into play there. So yeah, thousands and thousands of dollars just for that. And then they don't find the root of the problem. I mean, they just basically observed me is what they did and gave me some pain meds. So,
And then you got billed, right?
and then gave me the bill. Yes.
So Nancy, do you know what caused these issues to occur with you? And was Dr. Garcia any help in diagnosing you?
Oh, it's so random for me. I don't know. Speaking the next day with Dr. Garcia, he thought maybe there was a bacteria in something that I ate. Um, and then it just kind of triggered. It sounded like my liver was already overtaxed. And so he just said, your body couldn't handle anymore. So that's all I know. It is very random for me.
So since you placed the magnets, have you had any recurring issues since then?
No, none, none. And everything, I mean, I don't have any discomfort whatsoever. When sometimes I could have had, little twinges here and there, and I've had nothing. So, and I was instructed by Dr. Garcia, put the placements on a few more times, and if I mean, I have them right there. So if I do feel discomfort, I'll just slap them on. But no, it's incredible.
So it's now been about 2, 3 weeks since the seminar, Nancy. How are you using the magnets? So what are you doing with them, and what's been your results so far?
Well, right away, I started using them on my son, who has had scalp issues. I've worked with a couple other friends, and one was having trouble with snoring or sleep apnea. I wasn't sure what it was. I didn't go through a full scan or treatment, but I just did a couple of the placements, and he, after about 15 minutes, completely stopped snoring, and it's a big issue with him. So that was a big a big one for me too, just to see that. I just got a table a couple days ago, so my plan is later today I'm going to work with some family that came to visit, so do some sessions on them. And I'm going to keep working at that and work towards being able to go to the level 2.
So how do you know how to treat somebody? What do you do to get started to start helping heal people?
Well, actually, it was looking through the Bible, Dr. Garcia's Bible with all the placements. Um, yeah, and there were varying placements that you could do for, there was like dandruff, one was psoriasis, but we came to this one page, and when I showed it to him, he connected with it right away. He says, "Mom, that's the one that I have." So then we started using those placements.
So did you do muscle testing to confirm that this was a correct placement for him?
I just put it on. I didn't. He's so desperate for help. So, and since we saw that and he resonated with it, I thought that was a pretty strong indicator right there.
So you placed the magnets on your
Mhm.
son, and were you able to get results immediately?
Yep. Yep. Right away. It wasn't like no question. So,
So your son just looked at the image and he says, "That's the one I need, mommy," and so you put the placement on him. It's interesting. The people I've worked with, the children seemed more available to this kind of subtle energy healing. Some of the adults have some blockage, but it definitely seems like the children are I'm finding easier to work with because
Right.
they don't have the preconceived notions about subtle energy healing, and that this type of energy can work through us to help heal others, and it's very profound when you get to that realization.
Right, right. And that applies to other areas as well in life, I should say. Yeah,
So, were you in the room when I had my medical crisis?
I was. Um, yeah, yes, I was. There was a lot of concerned people. Yeah, and I remember you walking outside, and Christine going after you, and it wasn't. And then I think you came back in, and then that's when I was having my problems, and I took off to my room. So, but that was amazing to see that.
Well, to share my story, this was on Saturday night, and I was actually at the table, the dinner table, with Dr. Garcia and Juliana and Danielle and Ricardo. And I had a crisis. I'd had issues before about back in April when I first learned about biomagnetic healing. A gentleman came and put placements around me, and after the third treatment, I had issues by throwing up whatever was inside of me, and this black goo came out, and immediately my whole right side of my chest and my lungs opened up, and I realized I hadn't been using the right side of my body. Before that, it had been shut down from whatever was stuck inside my throat, and that's when I first originally learned that this magnetic healing, magnetic treatments, was viable and could work. And so that night, I hadn't had any incidences for months. And then the night at the dinner table, I was eating a piece of meat and it got stuck in my throat, and I tried to wash it down with water and I couldn't swallow. And I ended up throwing up all over, extricating into the cup of Danielle's, her favorite cup that she brought from all the way from her coffee mug. She brought all the way from Maryland. And I ended up using that to extricate, and it went on for quite a while. And then Dr. Garcia used Juliana's arms to do a reading on me, and for the next, he placed over 30 to 40 magnets over the next 45 minutes on me, right there in front of everybody, and treated me right there. And this went on not just for the time I was at the seminar, but this went on driving Dr. Garcia and Juliana back to their bed and breakfast. And also when I got home, I had a towel on each side that night, and I was throwing up and extricating mucus onto towels on each side. And it wasn't until the next morning when I woke up and it was all cleared. I was not having the pain and issues, and as you saw when I got into the session the next day, that the issues had been cleared up. I still had a sore throat, but yeah, he placed over 30 to 40 magnets, and he said that I had streptococcus and meningitis were the first treatments. And then the final treatment was Yersinia pestis, which was the same incident that was found in me with the first issues I had with the first healer that treated me. And this is caused by geoengineering and caused by the spraying they were doing out in Oregon, alleged drill that went live. And Yersinia pestis is the Black Plague. And so I had to get cleared once again. And so I want to let everybody know, just because you have an issue and it's cleared, may have to come back and get cleared on issues again in the toxic world we live in. It's not just one issue, but we keep getting toxified. And so these treatments are meant to help us, but we also have to change our lifestyle. And I've changed from not eating dairy anymore and some of the issues, and cleaned up my eating habits to stop the recurring events from happening. Did you find it interesting that he was using Juliana to treat me?
Well, Danielle actually treated her daughter remotely while we were doing sessions. Um, practicing on each other. And that was amazing. Right away, she's like, oh, she could tell that she's really missing her mom right now. And so she just remotely right there treated her daughter. That was amazing too.
Tell me more about that. I didn't hear anything about that.
Well, that's pretty much that's pretty much all I know about it. But yeah, I'm another gal, of course, that I was working with at a table. Um, Danielle came up and was just trying to show her, this is what you can do. And she had learned earlier on that her daughter was very emotional. And so found out right away with that remote testing, that's what was going on. And then she did an emotional release actually. So, where she took a magnet and just swiped it over her head. Like, I can't remember how many times she did that. But, and quite honestly, I don't know anything past that point as far as, if she had talked. I mean, obviously had talked to somebody, but just to see, but just to see that she did the remote and she knew what was going on with her daughter right there, just by muscle testing. I thought it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so I'd started on this journey back, I think, about in April. And this has been
Yes.
quite an amazing journey to learn that we can self heal each other using magnetism. And this goes way back to the ancient Egyptians. They called it Ka, the subtle energy. The Chinese, they call it Qi. The Japanese, they call it prana healing. But in the Western world, we really don't have a word for
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's really exciting that we're going to be able to bring this self healing to others. And it's the very, very beginning. The pebble just dropped with Dr. Goyes and Dr. Garcia now, bringing it to the
Yeah.
United States. And we're going to be able to start help healing each other using biomagnetism. And Dr. Garcia's work
Yeah.
as being a medical doctor and then quitting his practice 12 years ago to where now he's on Park Avenue with a 6 month waiting list. I mean, I just found this whole self healing absolutely an answer in all the darkness in the toxic world we're living in today. And I think it's absolutely fantastic that we help facilitate training 32 new certified biomagnetic
Mm-hmm.
practitioners
Mm-hmm.
to go out and start self healing others around the country. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Exactly. It is extremely exciting because, just to be able to empower people, take your health back or take the power back to be able to get your health back. Where else do you find that? You just can't. This is amazing.
So, since you've gotten back, what's been the reaction when you've been telling everybody you can start healing them with magnets?
Oh, yeah. Uh, yes. Oh, yeah. All my friends and, family know what I've gone through. And just to see the look in their eye, they're, a deer in headlights, like, oh my gosh. So instantly, they're like, put me on the list. I want you to check me out. So I got my lineup just waiting. But yeah, huge, huge for the people that know what I went through.
So, Nancy, tell me how you go about now that you've gotten back and you're actually putting beyond biomagnetism to work by placing magnets on people. What do you do? Sometimes you start with issues or do a full body scan or most common pathogens or emotionals. How do you get started with this?
Well, I guess I think I start with the issues first, and then let them see the results. I mean, they're going to get results. They might be subtle, but they're going to get them, and then probably do the full scan from there. Find all those layers, and that was very interesting to hear, to learn that how many layers there can be in different people, and just how those your body's only going to allow so much to come out at one time, or what it can handle. Let's put it that way. So that is very interesting. Your body is protecting you, as you're even going through trying to find healing through biomagnetism.
Yeah, that's the way I started too. I took level one, and it was so much information presented, and hundreds of different placements, and just issues on issues that we have. I mean, as far as mind, body, and spirit, and so
Hmm.
I just started treating issues that I knew would work with the tinnitus, the ringing on the ears,
Okay.
arthritis, pain placements. Somebody had a tooth issue and put a placement, a black on the tooth and another on the kidney, and 15 minutes later their toothache went away, and started treating the empirical where you could treat somebody and get results right away, even though some of our issues are much deeper on layers on layers on layers. And also the treatment protocol, Dr. Garcia has his most common pathogen
Hmm.
list. And he also has the 110, 120 emotions. And he also has his Biomagnetic Bible, which has, as I said, close to 300 different placements. So it can be quite overwhelming and daunting to get started on how to begin healing people. But it's, again, the old mantra, start somewhere, use what you got. So until I went back and took the level two and spent a weekend with Dr. Garcia and just a few of us, and I got much more confident to do what he does with a full body scanning and being able to do
Okay.
the full treatment
Okay.
over a period of time to get down to the layers and layers of issues of viruses, bacteria, funguses, and parasites that he lists in all his different issues. And so it takes a while. So I just want to tell everybody, this is Dr. Garcia spent 12 years learning this, and he was a medical doctor, and I knew nothing about anatomy. So it's been a very learning process, but we're getting immediate results, and especially starting with some of the emotional issues.
Right, right. Well, and early on learning about health, I was always asking, why is it that they want to treat the body separately when it's all one unit? And so, of course, all that's taking place. You have your emotions and, the physical stuff that's going on. And I had learned a little bit about that before even coming out and taking the seminar. So I wasn't totally shocked when I heard that, but it makes so much sense childhood traumas, whatever, accidents, whatever. I mean, yeah, you have to deal with that. And isn't that part of ascension? When you're dealing with stuff and you're letting it go too. Isn't that part of all that? So pretty incredible. It to be a
And Western medicine never addresses any
yeah.
emotional issues attached to physical ailments. And how many emotional issues
Mhm.
cause us to be harmed by physical issues? You remember Chris, who was up there with the brain trauma and found out that he had emotional issues
Yeah.
of loneliness attached to it. And
Yes.
immediately after Dr. Garcia treated him for the brain trauma injury with the emotions, he got better immediately. You could see it.
Absolutely. Yes. It was a tearjerker. I just seeing that and so he can move on and I was blown away about that one for sure.
And I want to share another story with you. I had a lady who came here, and I sometimes start with the emotional issues since they're the root of a lot of our problems. And I was doing Dr. Garcia's 110, 120 emotional issues in scanning, and I came up with, boy, all these very, very difficult emotions of violence, rage, anger, and all of these. And I said to her, I said, these can't be right. I don't even want to say them to you. There's no way that
Huh?
I'm getting these readings right. But I just wanted to share with you that I'm coming up with these emotional issues that may be causing some of these physical ailments with you. And when I read to her that the violence and the rage and the anger with whatnot, she got up and she ran to the bathroom in tears. It was very moving.
Oh my gosh.
And when she came out from the bathroom 15, 20 minutes later, she explained to me that she had been physically abused and traumatized by her uncle growing up. And that has stayed inside of her. She's now a yoga instructor and she's working in healing modalities. But these issues that are tattooed in us from childhood still cause physical ailments later on in life. And that is a cause of many things.
Mm.
It's very profound that this type of biomagnetism can drill down and get to the heart of the matter. And I'm super excited to
Oh
see
yeah.
where this is all going to be in a year from now when you and the others, myself, and a lot of these others that are just getting certified, where we're going to be able to take this biomagnetic self healing in a year from
Hmm.
now when a lot more people are going to be exposed to it and they're going to realize that subtle energy healing is an answer.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I can't wait to get started today.
So, in closing, Nancy, is there anything you'd like to share or tell before we wrap it up?
Oh, I am just so thankful that you put that seminar on. I can't thank you enough. Um, just if anybody has a question, I mean, I sit here and I'm like, I'm just a mom from northern Minnesota. I took a leap and I'm so happy that I did. So, any doubts, just brush them aside and go.
Thank you, Nancy, for sharing your story. And I'm sure a lot will benefit from you opening yourself up. I know it's not easy for you to talk and share your story or a private person, but you're helping others. And
Yes.
through helping others and sharing, others will benefit as well. So thank you. And please come back and let's do this again and give me an update about what
Yeah,
your progress is down the road, if you wouldn't
exactly.
mind. Thank you. And we'll talk to you later. And a real shout out to the graduating class certification for the first ever Beyond Biomagnetic seminar, and also to my awesome crew that made it happen for everybody, even through the power outages. They were incredible with helping it make it a magical event for all. If you need more information, go to usbiomag.com for products. There's also practitioners, healers that you can sign up to work with. And also my website is wellhealed.life. And on the left-hand column at the top is several books which I highly recommend reading to learn more about the subtle energy healing that is going to be working through all of us to help heal the world. And also the Well Healed 2, my YouTube site. Health is wealth. Let it begin with me. Let's all start the healing and also reconnecting to our ancient ancestry of using magnetism to heal each other and our toxic world today. Peace and love one another always.